Oh, it just went under. There we go. Look at that bad boy. Hey, Eliot here with ePark Fishing. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to use jigs to catch trout. So this river right here doesn't allow bait, so I'm not going to be able to use any soft plastics like trout magnets or rub tails or anything like that. So I've got a really good assortment of jig flies and maribou jigs and a bunch of different colors. So I've got 6-pound braid on my main line, and this is a light rod with a 6-pound leader on it right now. All right, so method number 1 is a float with the jig under it, and there are a couple different ways you can do this. So the first way is you can have your jig be free sinking. So just have this be a sliding float. What that allows you to do is while the float is drifting down, you can pop your rod tip and get that jig to go up and down as it's going down the river. All right, so I've got this clear float, and I'm just gonna take my line and put it through that float. And then I'm gonna tie a swivel right here. And that swivel is just gonna keep my, my hook on my jig from sticking into this or getting tangled up. So the sun's actually coming out a little bit, and the river's really clear right now. So I'm gonna drop down to a 6X tippet. So I'm gonna take 18 inches of that 6X, and I'm just gonna tie that on with an improved clinch knot. And on the end of that, I'm gonna put a little maribou jig. All right, so I got my clear bubble right there, and then a swivel, and then like 18 inches below that, I got this little maribou jig. This guy's only like a 1/16 of an ounce, so just a small one. So the conditions out here right now, it's like 62 degrees. It's late spring, so all the wildlife is starting to come out. And I'm gonna see what the water temperature is here. 57.7 degrees water temperature, so it's definitely warming up. So this is perfect for trout. This is exactly what trout want. So here we go. I'm gonna go straight up, right into that white water, and I'm letting it sink. And now I'm just popping it. I'm just popping it. Oh! Definitely got a bite on that first cast. Oh man. Oh, that might have just been weeds. All right, there's some sort of weed bed down there. I thought I had a bite. Just throw it back out here. This time I'm gonna throw it past that weed bed. And I'm just gonna pretty much just pop it a little bit along the way and feel for a bite. Oh, it just went under. There we go. Got one. Nice rainbow there. Since it's barbless, it should just come straight off. Oh, it's already unhooked. Not too bad at all. All right, there he goes. Even with all this wind, I could tell that I had a fish on. So the only problem with these clear bubbles is that they're really hard to see, and especially right here, there's a bunch of bubbles on the surface, so I can barely even see this. So I'm gonna show you a little trick so you can see that bubble better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of these fly fishing indicators, and I'm gonna put that above the bubble. So if you have your bubble right here, and then you clip this guy on, just put it through the slot, and then screw the top back on, and then that's gonna clamp on there, and then you can see it a lot better. So I'm just gonna unscrew this a little and slide up like another foot. That's gonna control your depth. So now I've got that stopper, and you can also use a bobber stopper, and when this drops down, the float is gonna float up and it's gonna stop. Boom, right there. And then your jig's gonna be deeper. What you wanna do is just throw it out and then just let it sit there, just drift it. I'm just drifting it, and I can see that indicator really well. And then I'm kind of mending my line and keeping my drift straight. Oh, I just saw it go under. Oh, there are little guys right here. Little tiny ones. I'm gonna try this a couple more times, and then I'm gonna show you the next way. And you really gotta pay attention when it hits the water, because a lot of the time, that's when you're gonna get your bite. All right, so let's move on to the next method. This next method is the easiest way to go, and that's to tie your jig directly to your main line. But the important thing about if you wanna do that is you wanna pick the right jig. So I got this at the fly shop, and this right here is Joe's Jigged Crayfish. And it's gonna work really well for casting because probably weighs close to an 1/8 ounce. and it's got these rubber legs on it, and it's small enough that it's gonna work for trout. All right, so I got that really cool Joe's jigged crayfish right here, and it feels pretty hefty. Feels like I can cast this really well. So I'm just gonna throw it out, and I'm gonna let it sink a little bit, and then I'm just gonna pop it through and kind of let the current give it some action, but also just feel for the bottom and make sure I'm not gonna snag up. Because without that float on the top, you're a lot more likely to snag up. And the nice thing about freelining the jig is there are a million different ways you could retrieve this. You could just let it dead drift and bounce along the bottom, or you could bring it straight back and swim it, or you can kind of twitch it along the way. So I'm gonna try all those different styles and see if I can hone in on some trout here. So there we go, right into that deeper water. And then this time I'm gonna pop it up high and let it sink. Pop it up high, let it sink. Oh, there we go. Nice. Looks kind of like a brown. Yeah, it's a brown. So we got two different species now. There we go, beautiful. Look at that bad boy. On that Joe's jigged crayfish. It's got a little overbite. Look at that guy. All right, let's send it home. So 2 out of the 3 methods have yielded a fish so far. Let's see how the third one does.
If this video gets at least one person, young or old, to take a little break from screens and the internet and go fishing, then I feel like I've done my job. And if that person is you, or you agree with that message, then you can support the channel by clicking subscribe.
So this third method is the most finesse method of the 3. So I'm basically just taking my 6-pound leader here, and I'm gonna tie on a 4-pound section onto that so that it tapers down to a thinner line for that tiny fly. So these jig flies are really nice, but they don't really have enough weight to cast on their own. So I'm gonna go up, and I'm just gonna put a split shot right here. And there we go, that should give me definitely enough weight to cast right here. All right, so I'm sized down now to that little tiny jig fly. And then, yeah, about 24 inches above that, I've got a pretty good size split shot. So I'm gonna toss it right out there. Oh yeah, it casts even better. Casts even better. Oh, there we go. First cast, man. All right, 3 for 3, baby. No need to nut this guy. Just a little guy. Beautiful fish. So yeah, I'm gonna get this guy back. It's all barbless. Away he goes. So let's try this again. Let's see if we can't get more than one. If you can get to a spot like this where you're standing right by some deeper water, I'm just gonna drop it down and jig it right here. So I'm just gonna drop it, and I'm just gonna control my depth and just jig it right here. See if there's anything hanging out. I can even just hold it there, bring it up, and let it fall. And I can't tell you how many fish I've caught right under my feet. Happens all the time.
Hey, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We just passed 40,000 subscribers. So cheers everybody, tight lines, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.